Okay, hello everyone. Today with another session of touchHLE fix and play, and today I decided to work on the Mirror's Edge game. I think it is one of the game what was really requested several times, and it seems like many people would like it to be supported with touchHLE. And yeah, so I guess I gonna show you what I have for the moment, and in order to not really keep your hopes high, so far it's trending to be like 3 stars game at most. There's several issues right now what I don't think I gonna able to fix anytime soon, but I think it's still in the playable state. So yeah, cool. So let me first share my screen, and I gonna just build the version what I have, and yeah, I gonna show you what I have for the moment. And please confirm what you do hear the music, because otherwise last few minutes was wired. So, what issues do we have? Hello, welcome to the stream. So let me a bit reduce the music. So there is a lot of issues and they're quite annoying. So first of all, we have some glitches around font rendering, and touchHLE right now does not support font shadows. Well, shadows in the core graphics, but here it is applied to the font rendering, so that's why you have some artifacts. But it's not that bad. We can talk later about the font itself, because one of the reasons what it took considerable amount of time to support it, it's actually related to the font rendering, because it is done with pure core graphics. Yeah, well, just to be clear, this is not yet fully available on the trunk. This is still work in progress. Maybe I push some commits today, but I don't know. It will still take time before it's fully supported in the trunk. I guess okay, one of the, I guess, most annoying things right now, what the music plays only in the menu. In the game itself, music does not work. So sound effects do work, music does not. It's quite annoying, but yeah, there is a lot what need to be changed in touchHLE in order to support VBR. So like the proper support for the variable length audio formats. Okay, so I think what I wanted to do is to first play a little bit from the beginning. So I'm gonna remove my saves for this game, and in touchHLE, in order to remove the saves, you just delete the folder related to the application from the touchHLE sandbox. But it's only if you really want to reset the state of the game. Can you fix a game? Well, usually we do not take requests. So let me run the game again. Ever heard of Tango Binary Translator by Amaniu? Nope, never heard. Okay, so let me try to run the game again in full screen with a fresh save. Well, it looks a little bit blurry, so maybe I should also define the scale hack. Yeah, I think with other small issues like some menus can just crash. So for example, wallpapers is okay. Let me bring down a little bit sound here. I guess if I click on the media library it will just crash. Yeah, so do you use IDEA Pro for finding the resolution scale? So no, and it doesn't make much of the sense because resolution scaling is something internal to touchHLE. It has nothing to do with the binary per se, but for some games it does work and for some games it doesn't. And for the reverse engineering we use Ghidra usually, open source software reverse engineering kit. Well, we do care about all sorts of games, but there is literally millions, if not billions of games that doesn't work with touchHLE, and it's impossible to honor every single request. Well, FPS unlocking also not making a lot of sense because right now we are emulating the iPod Touch of first generation or iPhone, and I guess it was at max 60 FPS at max, but a lot of games just could not even support that FPS. So yeah. Okay, so let me relaunch with scale hack 4. So I'm gonna just play a little bit like first tutorials, first levels and such. And you see this screen. Fun fact, what this is actually rendered using the Core Graphics font, so CG font. Like this is all rendered by touchHLE directly. This is not like the game engine doing some OpenGL calls. This is touchHLE providing the CG font support and such. So as I said, you will hear the game sounds, but the music in the levels themselves are not playing. And we have a tutorial, tap screen to stop, swipe in the opposite direction to change direction without stopping, swipe two things down to pause the game. Swipe up to jump. Five will gain speed as she runs. Avoid obstacles to maintain speed. Mythology seems pretty cool. Yeah, thank you. Well, hopefully we are not that far away from the support on trunk. I think we will see. I will probably planning to play a little bit just to showcase and see if there are any crashes what I am not really aware about, and then maybe we can do some live coding to brush up the work in progress branch what I do have about this game. And I'm using mouse in order to control 5. Swipe up when sliding to quickly resume running. Yeah, sure. Jump at wall to climb it. Faith must jump with running to do a wall climb. Tap to continue. Yeah, sure. Swipe down before impact to roll. Swipe up when in front of an orange sign to wall run. Jump just before wall run and then swipe up over it to travel even further. Radar dishes are checkpoints. Faith will restart from the last one she passed if she is hard. The graphics of the old games resemble the graphics of the PS1, PS2. Cool. Yeah, so I guess this one was released for iOS 3 minimum version, so think of like first iPhone, iPod Touch, first generation, maybe iPhone 3GS. I guess this game in particular can support OpenGL ES 2, but we are using OpenGL ES 1.1. This is what touchHLE is emulating, and it can look a little bit rough sometimes. Okay, so please be nice to each other in the chat, otherwise I will start to just ban people. Swipe up to jump out of the wall run and maximize that distance. Jump when 5 is on the ramp to do a boost jump. Oops. Well, it does means what restarting from the checkpoint does work. Don't forget to swipe down before impact rolls right back into a run. Cool. So as you can see, you can finish the first training, and there is some issue with the text rendering. Why there is some issue with the text rendering? Because touchHLE does not really support shadowing, well, shadow color to be exact, in the core graphics font implementation, well, just in core graphics. So that's why you see what the text is kind of blending with the background, and you cannot really read some parts of it. But this is not too bad, I will say. Pirate radio transmission, blah blah blah. Yeah, it's really a bummer what the music is not working yet. If F collides with when H will clamber over it. Swipe up during a clamber to do a high jump. Okay. Swipe left, right to change directions when swinging. Swipe up to jump out. Faith can only run out on a forward swing. Swipe down to drop. Swipe up to enter a zip line. Yeah, thanks for reminding. If you see sparks, tilt the device to streamline Faith and go faster. It's kinda eerie when the city is so silent you only hear 5 footsteps. Yeah, true. Swipe down to exit a zip line gracefully. Are you going to preview tonight so people can see how that works? Not yet. Well, hopefully I can show what is left to do later in the stream, but for the moment it's still not yet available. Swipe up to scale platforms when Faith is directly beneath one. 5 will remember inputs you make while she is scaling up platforms. Is it possible to do native input like controllers? It does RS. Well, touchHLE already support controllers. So if you connect the controller what is recognizable by your system, it will be available for touchHLE to use. The caveat is what you need to adjust the settings or options in touchHLE. And yeah, so for some games it may not work, but for some games we already have built-in support for the controller. You can see it in the touchHLE options.txt. I really like the art style of Mirror's Edge. So I played the PC version quite a lot and mobile port as well. Though, as far as I remember, it was done in order to promote the main PC or console version in the first place. Jump at wall to climb it. Faith must jump while running to do a wall jump. Okay. Swipe up during a wall climb to do a wall jump. Jump over to avoid short balance beams what slow Faith down. Remember locations of hidden bugs and explore the environment to find them. So I guess, I don't know how visible it on the stream, probably not really visible that much, but the text rendering right now is not anti-aliased. So it means that the edges of the text rendering is a bit rough. If you compare, for example, with the real iOS. But I think it's not too bad. Okay, so how do I get a bug here? Okay, I don't know how to get a bug. Red objects indicate the path to the end of the level. When on long balance beams, tilt the device to stabilize Faith. If she falls off, swipe up to get back on the beam. If you see smoke, tilt the device to streamline Faith to go faster. Okay, so we finished another level. Hello, this is my childhood game. Yeah, okay, well, welcome. So yeah, today we are playing and hopefully fixing Mirror's Edge mobile port for iOS. It's not yet available on the trunk, but hopefully it will be. There's also a similar font issue with PC Mirror's Edge. If you play it above 1080p, it becomes very pixelated. You need to modify it to fix it on PC version. Yeah. Yeah, so I think these issues with the font is really particular to iOS version because they use iOS core graphics function calls, and this is really up to the device itself, or in our case to the emulation to get it properly. I think it could be improved in the future, but it's good enough because, well, actually let me show how it was before, because just to provide some context, right now trunk is here, and this is about 4 commits what is missing for Mirror's Edge support, and I'm gonna just create another temporary branch here, and I will show you what happens with the text rendering if you do not implement CG context set text matrix. And I guess you will see why it's kind of important for that to be supported properly. Let me see, set context matrix. Set context matrix. Set context matrix. Okay, well, I'm gonna just provide some kind of stub, because right now if I launch the game without that function, it will just crash. I wonder what holds back the official touchHLE repo from advancing support more stuff and presenting too many forks. Well, I guess this is not a right question, because the thing what kind of led to the explosion of forks is the proliferation of the AI and LLM tools. So every kit with free time can now generate AI slop, and this is leading to the proliferation of the forks in the case of touchHLE. Yeah. Cool. So I wanted to show something what I think cool. So let me go to CG context, and here I just gonna provide the stub. Transform. We just need 2 arguments. So I'm gonna show you issue what we had with the font rendering, and this is in part why it took considerable amount of my time in order to find the solution. But it's quite funny, I guess, what if you don't provide any implementation of context set text matrix, you will see. So basically, if you do not provide any implementation, the text is rendered upside down and out of the box. And okay, so please don't mention any forks in the chat or I will ban you. It's easy, just rotate the window. Yeah. So literally the problem with this game is mirrors edge of the font. Like, I guess it's really funny what the problem with this game is really the name of this game. So you see all of the text is rendered upside down. And why is that? Well, if you are curious what CG context set text matrix does, this is actually a function which applies affine transformation to the text itself. And this is not really a part of the graphics state. So we do already have a support for affine transformation in touchHLE, but the text matrix is not implemented. Well, was not implemented. And there is a lot of quirks about CG context and about core graphics on iOS. And one thing what is quite annoying, this is a direction of the Y axis. So normally, maybe I can find graphics Y direction, something like this. Quartz 2D programming guide, maybe. Graphic state, yeah, coordinate system. So basically you would think what 0, is located at the bottom left corner of your device, but actually for the core graphics it's quite inverse. You have a 0 located at the top left corner and Y goes down. And there is some discussion why it's done like this, but whatever. So basically this game needs to have a transformation applied in order for the text to render correctly. Yeah, so literally named mirrors. Okay. So I think I'm gonna finish one more level just for test purposes, and then we'll see what else I can do. There is also a bunch of other issues what I need to fix for this game to work, but the font was most annoying so far. And I guess regarding the font, I can also show the test application what we have built for touchHLE. And this test application is basically for us developers to kind of test what need to be tested in order to compare with the real device and with touchHLE itself. So for example, here I have a font rendering visual test application which allows me to see what is going on with the font rendering, to see how well it renders or not. And yeah, for example, see what during the rotation you have some small artifacts around the pixels of the text itself. Well, I don't know how well it is shown here, but yeah, on my screen I do see some inconsistencies with the text rendering. Well, in any case, now attaching TGA textures to RGBA. Yeah, well, so yeah, quite cool to have all of these rendered by the Core graphics. Go to the Pirate Radio hideout. Oops. One of the things what is a bit annoying about this game, what if you lose your momentum, you literally need to go back in order to build some, well, some momentum, some velocity in order to progress. Do you see anything to sideload apps on iOS, or do you live in U? Well, it depends what apps do you mean. And I do live in U, for the matter of fact. I want to collect those bugs, so we're gonna try again. Oh my god. I wouldn't say it's that tricky to control, but just because I'm using mouse, it's a bit wonky. Okay, and now I'll try. Man, I'm so bad at this. Yay, we got it. Not sure why streams lag sometimes for a few seconds. Let me see. Yeah, I do had some issues with OBS in the past, and it's quite possible what my internet connection is not that great, and I also use some kind of shitty Wi-Fi router, so it's quite possible it's because of that. Oh my god. Those helicopters is quite annoying. Okay, nice. CPU encoder, well, I am using my Apple M1, and CPU load in OBS is just about 4%, and also it shows what weighs, particularly no dropped frames. So I think this is an internet connection. Enemies will knock Faith down if she tries to run past them. Swipe down to slide and knock them down temporarily. Jump and then swipe left or right to do a flying kick to knock enemies down temporarily. Okay, this animation was quite chunky. Swipe in the same direction Faith is running when right next to the enemy to disarm them and knock them out permanently. I sometimes look at game binaries to find secret cheat codes and hidden debug menus. Yeah. I think when I was making a Ravensword compatible with touchHLE, I discovered what was a debug menu in the normal version of the game, and you can just teleport to any level without much of the effort. And it was as simple as clicking on the build name in the menu of the game. So yeah. Says for all Android games, most likely it will have the debug symbols. Yeah. Okay, well, enemies in this game is really useless. Okay. Yeah, so on this level you only hear some knocks on the metal pipes. Swipe down when dropping in on an enemy to perform a combat roll and knock them down temporarily. Oh, wrong way, sorry. Is there any way to run Samurai Veil the Barrier? The prequel of Samurai 2 Vengeance? I think this game is already supported in the preview builds. So check the UpDB. Yeah, so if you have any questions about compatibility, check the UpDB. And I think someone can post a link to the UpDB in the chat. And no iOS game, I have started working on touchHLE recently, but I cannot report it because previous report of mine have stuck in the approval queue for months. Well, usually if your report is stuck into the queue, it means several things. Usually most common reason of why a report is stuck in the limbo if you have some information what is not correct, and it's quite cumbersome to edit the reports. So that's why we basically may take some time. So you can contact me on the Discord with the link to your report in the private messages or in the comment channel, and I will answer you what is the issue with your report. Well, NPC is quite shit in this game, to be honest. Like, by normal standard, I should be already dead by the amount of bullets what Faith received so far. Congratulations. Like if you touchHLE, your friend was forced to use WebKit to display a website in game. Well, I guess I should say what touchHLE probably will never support WebKit, or at least it will be very difficult to support it, yet alone because WebKit is really the browser, a browser engine on its own, and yeah, this is like yet a completely separate project on its own, and we will probably never support it, or at least we will never support it fully. Well, this slow motion is quite useless if you ask me. Okay. If each game has its own browser, it will be even harder. Well, I mean, the WebKit is provided as a framework in order to render web pages and browse the internet, and each game on iOS is free to use it, but usually it is done, like in the case of games, usually with WebKit will be just used to displaying some secondary information, like, I don't know, some ads, some promotions, some top of the day tip, stuff like this. So usually the core functionality doesn't really depends on the web browsing, though with exceptions. Like, I remember in really early days of iOS, some people could just post the application what is really a disguise for the website. So they just repackage some web view and call it an app, and that's it. And I guess this is one of the reasons why iOS, Apple and iOS review process has hardened it this time, and why they introduce a lot of guidelines for the publishing of the applications. But now it's, I guess, arguably even worse because of all of this AI slope and stuff what is filled like internet in general and App Store in particular. So I think right now the average wait time for the iOS review process has been like few weeks or something like this. I have seen some games use HTML for the UI. Yeah. Well, I guess it depends on the game. But yeah. PWA moment. Yeah. Okay. So I think I'm gonna stop with the demo right here, but I still want to do some live coding. So I'm gonna do a small break for like, I don't know, 10 minutes or something, and then we continue.
Just like you, just like you. For how long must I wait? I know there's something wrong. Your concrete heart isn't beating, and I've tried to make it come alive. No shadows, just floodlights. Now I'm here to rescue you.
Okay, so I'm back. Well, I think we're gonna switch to actual coding. So let me enable some ambient soundtrack mix. If I understood currently, you have a few small commits with stubs to make the game not crash on startup, but it's not yet pushed. Yes, more or less. I wouldn't say it's all stubs. So let me gonna boot up Rust rover. And let me adjust the font size. So it should be readable on the stream itself. Okay, CF string create with C string null copy. So this one is quite annoying. And in order to understand why it's quite annoying, let's read the documentation. Creates a CF string object from an external C string buffer that may serve as the backend store for the object. A C string is a string of 8-bit characters terminated by this 8-bit null. Unique char and unichar 32 are not considered C strings. Unless the situation warrants overrides, the created object doesn't copy the external buffer to internal storage, but instead uses the buffer as the backend store. However, you should never assume that object is using the external buffer, since the object might copy the buffer to internal storage, or even dump the buffer altogether and store the characters in another way. Well, I guess in this case it will be trivial to implement. It does not copy the external buffer to internal storage, but instead uses the buffer as a backend storage. So actually it may be easier than I thought, because so right now CF string, well, touchHLE implements NS string and CF string backed by Rust strings, and here we couldn't really implement the external bucket storage without a lot of changes, because it would require to change how touchHLE handles strings, even if so let me open NS string to see what I'm talking about. So NS string is toll-free breached with CF string, and this is kind of not an touchHLE particularity. This is how the normal iOS operates. So CF string is really an alias for NS string, and in touchHLE NS string is implemented atop of the Rust strings. So we have a concept of a string object, and the string object we have a concept of the host object, and for the NS string, the string host object represent either UTF-8 or UTF-16, and those are Rust representation of the strings. And here we are talking about external buffer, so C string, which will kind of represent the CF string. Technically, it should be possible because NS string is an abstract class, and subclass should provide only length and character at index. But most of the time we are not really following that abstraction for 100. We are not really following that abstraction in all of the cases. We are not really respecting the NS string as an abstract class. There is some Rust implementation what is leaking. So yeah. Hello, Brazil here. Where are you from? Well, I'm living in France, Paris. Are you using Rust STD at all? I guess it depends what you call Rust STD, because we do use standard library, and actually one of the guiding principles of touchHLE is to try to minimize dependencies as much as possible. Like here we only have, like, I don't know, around 20 direct dependencies, something like this. Everything else is implemented from scratch. So we do use Rust STD, like here, for example. So I think it's gonna be easier than I thought it will be. I ask because I know some Rust projects want to be no STD, but Rust has STD, FFI, C string, which is used in one of the mapping projects I depend on. I think we do use also this thingy. Yeah. So you see here CSTR. Well, actually I should search for that one. Well, we do use it in some cases. So, for example, we use STB image in order to decode the image information, and here you need to kind of work with the raw pointers, so that's why CSTR is used. Well, here it's used for the error string, but nevertheless. yeah, so we don't really have an obsession to be no STD. Yeah, or at least I'm not aware about anything like this. Okay, so let me just cherry pick this actually. And change the commit message. And I think I'm gonna just write some kind of explanation. Need with bytes, no copy. Let me actually see what NS string explains. So I think this is NS string equivalent of this CF string. So what we are doing here, we are asserting the allocation. This is quite normal for all of the CF string functions. When we convert encoding from CF string to NS string encoding, when we get a star length, so the length of C string, and when we allocate so I want to say something like docs of CF string says that what does it say? Say what caller should never assume says caller should never assume that object is using the external buffer. Yeah, I'm thinking if where I actually want to place this explanation comment, because actually like we do have some explanation about the behavior of the CF string, create this string no copy, but I would suspect what init with bytes no copy should work in the similar way, though there is no really explanation here. docs of CF string create this doc of this function. No. Assume what the object is using the external buffer. It could be copied or dumped. So I guess what I want to decide here, should CF string create with C string no copy call init with bytes no copy, or it should directly just hit this and we kinda fire and forget. So let me check if it's actually works this way. So let me stash my changes, go back to this branch and replace this function with this one. And obviously it should be C string, C length encoded, right? Will it work this way? I'm not all familiar with Apple, but what is the difference between bytes and C string here? So I think in the Objective-C we don't really have a special type for the strings. Like string here is just null terminated C string. So it's not really special for the Apple. What is special for the Apple is CF string, which stands for Core Foundation String. And this is kind of special object which is not really related to the C string, the normal null terminated C string. This is like an objective oriented representation of a string, and there is some difference between CF string and NS string, but for our purposes it's really the same thing, plus or minus. Okay, it seems to work. So I think I'm gonna do it in more clean way. And we're gonna change back to my branch. Here I'm gonna apply my stash. And here we gonna call this function directly, and here I think I'm just gonna delete all of that. Okay, let me see. So I'm gonna amend this comment, and I'm gonna check once again what we have here. Docs of CF string with string copy says caller should never assume what object is using the external buffer. It could be copied to avoid damage. So we do we can call a method. We can invoke a method which does copy. And just to double check, init with bytes. It does a copy. So it's indirect copy, but it's a copy in the sense what we maintain our own string host object based on the bytes. Okay, so let me run linter once again. Oh, and by the way, people are very welcome to ask the questions about the code or about what I'm doing. I will try to explain as much as I could. Okay. I think I could push this one to the Garrett. Okay, git pull Garrett trunk rebase and push again. Cool. One comment done, few more to go. So let me see. Okay, class get property. This one is annoying. Wait, I was class get property. Class get property. Returns a property with a given name of a given class. The thing is what mirrors age. So here's Gidra for mirrors age, and class get property is used in order to get information about the UI screen scale. And I assume it's kind of a dynamic way to determine what content scale factor should be set. But for our purposes it's quite annoying because we are not really supporting the properties in the way of Objective-C or CIB, we do have a notion of a property, but this is internal to touchHLE. So we could not really return the Objective-C property T. I'm just wondering why no copy version of that function exists, especially if you cannot make assumption of it. Perhaps it's historically a performance thing. Yeah, I think performance will be... yeah. I think the performance is the right reason for this function to exist. Though you should note what a lot of the Objective-C related Apple API is quite cumbersome sometimes, and I guess this is example of a function that has a good documentation. Like if you have a bunch of other functions and you can just try to see, this is relatively good as well. What is this? Yeah, so this is example of the function and the level of documentation what you usually get from Apple. Though for the sake of fairness, this is quite an easy function, but the level of documentation is usually low. Yeah, so I think this is primarily a performance thing, but I want to emphasize what they are saying here and what they try to avoid. Like once you create a CF string object and you pass some backend storage, you should not try to modify this backend storage on your own. So I guess that's why you have this description here, and it kind of makes sense. Okay, I'm gonna back to 0 examples and no reference implementation looks painful for documentation. I guess this is kind of good example of documentation. If you want to see a bad example of documentation, just try to search for Mac-O function reference. Function task and for example. This is example of a bad documentation. Like this is just a signature of the function and nothing else. To be fair, this is a kernel, Mac-O, but this is one of the, like, you don't have really documentation, it's just a signature. And as an exercise for the listener, you can search for OpenGL function defined at the Apple side. Okay, anyway, Objective-C property T, an APAC type that represents an Objective-C declared property. Okay, class get property. Yeah, it was an annoying one. Like, the thing is, what the game itself doesn't really need the property here. So this is only a way for the game to check if property exists. Like the logic here, what we have a UI screen, we have main screen, and then we try to get a property related to the scale. And what does it mean? depending on the iOS version, this property may or may not exist. Like if I search for UI screen scale, it only appears in iOS 4 or later. So it means what if you run this code on the device which is pre iOS 4, the property here will be null, and so that's why it asserts about this property. So this is kind of a flexible way to ask, I am running on this device, does it have scale property for UI screen? And this makes sense, but it's quite annoying, because actually they don't really care about the value of the property. They just check if it exists or not. And for us, if we have a look at UI screen, we do have a property scale. Like in Objective-C, the property is really a getter and a setter. So here we have a setter, we have a getter, and the setter will be something like, I don't know, CG, float, no, it will be void, and then it will be something like set, scale, so the combination of the getter and setter really represents a property. And this is called property, but this is really a syntactic sugar atop of getter and setter. And so for us, we only implemented getter, so we already kind of half an implementation. And then we also do not really have Objective-C property T implemented. And this is an APAC type. Okay. The Mirror's Edge game on iOS had a Retina release and iPad release. They did a lot of marketing about the resolution back then. Has a different aspect ratio, which changes a few situations of the game. The iPad version allows you to full forward before a respawn, for example, which can be used in level 5 to skip part of a level. Okay. Yeah. Well, maybe in the future I should have a look at the iPad version if it's not too far into the supported versions. Because this one I believe is for iOS 3.0 and iPad it's, I don't know, it's probably 3.2 or something, but anyway. Okay, so what I'm thinking of doing here is to define the class get property, but then just have a condition to check if it's about the UI screen scale to return nil and otherwise fall back to assertion, because we don't have a lot of the infrastructure right now to properly implement class get property. Like we don't really have an notion of the Objective-C runtime property in the code, and this seems like a marginal functionality here. I saw a new commit on the touchHLE GitHub repo. Yes, because I just pushed it like 10 minutes ago or something. Okay, let me think. I'm actually thinking maybe I was already implemented this thing, so let me grab on the old implementations, because I have a lot of temporary branches and sometimes I have already implemented something, just forget to clean it up and push, so no, it was not. Okay, let me see where we can. So let me cherry pick this. I don't want to commit it yet. Class get property. Class get property. So right now it's just dumps all of the class names, property names, selectors, evars, etc., etc. Class name string. So what I want to do, I want to implement it in the way of class name string. No. What's up with the music? Let me find something more appropriate. 1 second. So I just found another mirrors HOST. I hope my stream didn't get copyright claimed, but anyway. Okay, Objective-C property T. So what I want to do, I want to say if class name is equal to UI screen, and CName is equal to scale, then we return this, else it's just to do. Yeah, so something like this. Return. And let me see if it's actually working or not. And because this is Rust, we need to wait for compilation. Okay, I think it did progress. Okay, but I also want to define the return value properly. So let me see. What do we have here? Category T. So how do we deal with category T? So walnut category T will be an opaque class as well. Category T. Okay, let me check a few examples of opaque types in the code base. Yeah, opaque audio component. Audio component, opaque audio component. Okay. And here we have Objective-C property. Yeah, I think I want to define it in the similar fashion. So it will be Objective-C property. Here we say Objective-C property. Here we say Objective-C property G. And should have camel case. No, it will not. Define fields. Yeah, so type def struct Objective-C property T. An opaque type represents an Objective-T declared property. Okay, and then we can say what here we return Objective property T. Does it work this way? Well, it should not be uppercase. Type. Do you already have something Objective-C? Objective-C class? Well, this is struct, but I'm talking about types. List T. List T. Non-camel case types. A lot of them. Okay. So now we should not have this warning anymore. We have another warning. Okay, chat, tell me what should I do during the wait for the compilation? Because when you work with Rust, most of the time you just wait for the compilation to finish. I want to have a to-do here. Okay, so we do have isn't release build slower? I think it's a bit slower, but if I gonna change it to the normal one, it will be even slower in the sense that it will start to compile the normal one, like the debug one. So if I do that, well, I will need to wait for the recompilation, and I guess this is about the same. But the problem with the debug builds, what sometimes is too slow to run. So usually I prefer to use the release one, at least when I am streaming, so you don't have an additional lag coming from the debug build itself. Okay, but let me see if I have this. Yeah, so we do have this to do here. Even if UI screen scale is implemented, we are not yet having support for not yet having a proper support for Objective-C property, so we prefer to return a null here. In most cases, some games such as Mirror Edge check for those to conditionally apply some parameters without actually using the property. Sage. Check for those two conditions and apply some parameters without actually using the property. We also prefer to not define this as a game specific hack, because some other games, I guess EA games, may use same functionality, may rely on the same logic to do support. So even if UI screen scale is implemented, we are not yet having a proper support for Objective-C property C, so we prefer to return a null here. Some games, this mirror age property to property is not some games check flows to condition they apply some parameters. Again, check parameters depending on the iOS version without actually using the property. We also prefer to not define this as a game specific hack because some other EA games may rely on the same logic. Okay, let me see. And we have a linter because we are only allowing 80 characters. So let me quickly fix that. Oh, here. Games may rely on the same logic. Okay. Okay, thanks. Thank you. Okay, let me see if a linter is happy. So let me gonna fix some parts. Here I'm new what I'm doing here. So today I'm trying to make Mirror's Edge iOS port compatible with touchHLE, an open source iOS simulator. Basically struggling with the Rust code right now. So step 4. With screen scale case. So I'm a bit worried about how well this will work in practice, because we also have this code called is multitasking supported, and it is querying for this property. And I'm not sure where it's actually used. So we just hope it will never be used, and we will see. Okay, let me run formatter again. It's okay. Let's get property. Okay. And we're gonna push this. Carry trunk. So let me quickly show to the newcomers what we are talking. What we are talking about. And again, I need to rebuild because I switched the branches, but bear with me. So I think we are kind of like 2 or 3 commits away. Okay, anyway, let's go back to work. It was just a small showcase what we are working on, and I'm gonna bring back the music. So where we are. Okay. The speedrun strat this level is to swipe down twice so you drop in a row, but you have to not drop too far or it will respawn you. Yeah. Okay, so we reached another quite annoying thing. Will not that be difficult in the emulator? What do you mean? I mean, if you're playing on Android, you should have the same gestures as on iOS, the same touch controls. With the mouse, yeah, it's probably a bit quirky. Okay, so we reached another quite annoying things to deal with, and this is in relation to audio. And it is quite annoying because we have only partial support for this kind of audio with the variable length bitrate. Well, I don't actually remember how it's called, but the point is what it does not have a constant bitrate, and we not fully support this yet in touchHLE. So for the moment I gonna implement some kind of a stub, and I think I gonna guard it with game specific hack. So we're gonna say game specific hack for mirrors edge audio loading, and it will be quite annoying hack to implement. So usually audio file property file format, well, it returns the file format in 4cc. Bundle identifier, scriptability with name. Yeah, so what I want to do here is to say something like if it's BV, so bundle ID equal to this thingy, bundle ID starts with or. So I don't exactly remember how it is abbreviated for another version of Mirror's Edge, but I believe it's BV and INC. INC stands for international, and BV, well, I don't remember. And we're gonna also log this game specific hack for mirrors edge returning wave for So I'm not sure how annoying this kind of lock it will be, but this is a basic idea what I have here. And I think this is part of the problem why touchHLE actually is not playing music during the normal levels. I think it's not the biggest deal, but this is a part of the issue related to the audio support. Okay, so we are progressing to the set text matrix. And let me check how many game specific. Interesting. Sage, mirror sage. Yeah, so 1, 2, 3. It's not too bad. Okay. So we usually don't like game specific hacks, but it will be also quite annoying to fix it for real, so so just to double check, audio file property format, the format of audio data file, and this again, once again, this is a job versus the level of documentation what is Apple is usually providing. Like, I already know what this is file format, just reading the name of this enough, and there is no examples, you don't know what is actually behind this one, you need to figure out actually what it is related to the FFmpeg, so yeah, but any case, it should be ok for what it's worth. Game specific hack, and we are pushing it. Okay, and the last piece of the puzzle is set text matrix. I just gonna cherry pick it because I already spent a lot of time testing it, and we actually can see it if we run our test program. I'm gonna show once again what we as a developer are using for testing different aspects, different visual aspects with the test app, which is built, by the way, by using Clang and using touchHLE. The music for this game is great, very nostalgic for me. Yes, the music is one of the it was a nearly perfect game, like when I used to play it on PC and on iOS as well, like music, art style. I guess there is some parts about the story and about the NPCs what is not really greatest, but anyway, this is really a good game on both PC on iOS as well. Okay, so we have this test application what was just compiled, and I can actually run it, and I will show you some stuff related to the font render. So I have a bunch of tests related to the set text matrix, and you can see here what I'm rendering text, and I'm mirroring it, applying the mirror transformation affine one. When I apply the full game, was I got touch kit, so playing will be great. Yeah. And then I have another test which is similar to this one, which rotates, but this time it rotates and scales using the CG context set text matrix. And then we have also squash test, and you can see what there is some artifacts still with the text rendering, but I don't think I'm gonna fix it anytime soon. But this is something for the future improvements. Maybe the bilinear sampling would help us here. Well, in any case, I think we are approaching like the end of at least what I want to support right now for this game. So as I said in the beginning, it will be 3-star game because we have a lot of small issues. The notable one is the missing music on the levels itself. You have a music in the menu, but it does not loop, and we have other small issues. Okay. Yes, so as you see here, we have a lot of logs. Oh, not that bad actually. Yeah, I think it's possible. Okay, in any case, I'm gonna push it to the trunk. And I think that's it. In about 10 minutes, the trunk builds should support Mirror's Edge version 1.4.72. So yeah, I guess in about 10 minutes the preview builds should support Mirror's Edge. So I think it was quite annoying because a lot of things it was really annoying to make it work for different reasons. I will raise C versus my Rusty locally to give it a try. Yeah, so you can build locally, but you can also just wait for touchHLE to be to produce the preview build. So we have here download so yeah. So I think I'm gonna stop here. I think I can just maybe run for last time, but that's it. So it took quite a lot of time to get this game working, and to be honest, about few weeks ago someone posted on the Reddit what they managed to make it work using some AI tools, and obviously we will not able to accept this because touchHLE have very strict no AI policy, but I decided to have a look myself, and here we are. I have been here the whole time. Well, you know now what it makes to make game compatible with touchHLE. Yes, there is indeed official touchHLE Discord. There is no official touchHLE Reddit, though someone created a thread. And by the way, so let me find. So for people searching for the Discord, we have a link in touchHLE, and I'm gonna post it here. But yeah, we are kinda not very we are not really broadcasting that much because a lot of people are just ignoring our rules and just create a lot of noise in the Discord. But yeah, it was on the org. So anyway, you have a link now. So I think off stream I'm gonna create a entry for the AppDB, which will be nice to have, and yeah, I guess I already explained it, all of the issues, well, most of the issues what we have with the game. But yeah, I guess if you found any issues with the game, please let us know on the Discord or by submitting an AppDB report. Well, you see the problem with this NPC, like they could already kill the 5, but those stupid cops are not able to do so. That's where the invite link is. Yeah, well, I guess this is one place where you can find the invite link. On Twitter and Blue Sky it's also was posted somewhere. Do you track app specific to do somewhere? Well, I guess AppDB. Well, let me find the AppDB for everyone. So we have so-called application compatibility database. And this is usually where we can, if you have a question what is the current state of the support for any game, you can find it here. We don't really track app specific to-dos, though you have an issues on GitHub, and sometimes people are posting issues about particular games. So for example, for the beer game, we had an issue for a long time related to the game card has been removed, and there was really a fix. I should probably mention the fix somewhere, but yeah. So sometimes we use the issues for some known problems with games. Okay, I think I'm gonna try to finish this level and we're gonna call it here. Oh my god, how unresponsive. It's really a bit wonky. If I remember correctly, you only want GitHub issues for games that are listed as supported. Does it mean that they have a 3+ stars entry of the one what I mentioned in the changelog? Yes, so usually we want to track regressions about the games or unknown issues, because otherwise, like the majority of the open issues that we receive on GitHub, this is just people begging us to support games. It's completely useless. Yeah, so the heuristic about 3 stars or mentioned in the changelog. So normally if the game is mentioned in the changelog, it will have a 3-star plus support in the AppDB. Okay, well, I think I'm gonna stop here. So thank you everyone for participating in this stream. As I said, the latest preview build is, well, currently building, but it should be available pretty much under few minutes if you want to try it for yourself. I'm gonna submit the and particular entry for the mirror's age, but the version what is known to work is 1.4.72, and yeah, I think that's it. So thanks everyone, and I guess see you next time. Thank you everyone.